They say Johannesburg is collapsing. They say nothing can fix it. But today the fight begins. Leaders step into the ring. Welcome to Mzansi Uncut News. Watch. Listen. Decide for yourself.
I'm from KZN, so I'll stick to Zulu. Niyaphila. Bengithi nizongifaka ngengoma yamaskandi. I'm disappointed. Wow. Of this in front of you remarkable people. Thank you for coming today, and please give yourselves a round of applause. Amazing. I was very nervous about my speech, but I wrote it down from my heart because I know how to speak from my heart. So whatever I'm going to say today, I hope you'll take it for the attention that it is all about. So 32 years ago, many blacks in long queues at the opportunity for the very first time. Their dream was coming alive. The story was finally over, and life was soon going to get better. Democracy and freedom that many had longed for, prayed for, and many had even died for. South Africa was about to finally pave a way for black South Africans especially to solidify their place in their own country 300 plus years later. Little did they know that the Constitution that was meant to make this excitement long-lasting, that was meant to protect them from ever being held captive and oppressed in their own country again, would soon be used as the very weapon to hold them hostage against our new age oppressors. One may ask, how did we get here? Well, in the year 1886, a place that nobody saw as a place of potential because the land was not fertile for farming, there was no harbor, and there simply was no life, suddenly came into life and became booming when a foreigner called George Harrison was credited for discovering gold in a city that would one day be later called Johannesburg, the city of gold. A city that today stands tall as the leading financial center of Africa and the economic powerhouse of South Africa. That discovery back then soon led to an invasion that was called the Gold Rush by many Europeans who came and wanted to milk this country for all its wealth. Sadly enough, the very same people who were the natives of this country were used as laborers. They were oppressed and driven to slavery to make the dream of those immigrants a reality, while not even getting a piece of that wealth. And until today, that wealth has been kept safe in the hands of those immigrants, even though the illusion of freedom now exists. Today, we have come full circle to the very same situation repeating itself once again. When immigrants are in this country, milking this country and our cities for all that it has, while pushing the natives to absolute slavery and oppression. But this time, what makes it even more difficult a fight is that it's oppression and an invasion by people who look like us. People we welcomed openly to share in the blood, sweat, and tears of those who sacrificed their lives for this freedom. A freedom we have barely even enjoyed, and already we're being told we don't deserve to enjoy it alone because other people who look like us deserve it too. We have been betrayed by our own kind who left their countries in a rot, who destroyed their cities and their countries, but refused to make even half the sacrifices that South Africans who died for this country made. And now, as the natives of this country, we are struggling for our healthcare, struggling for our schools, struggling for our jobs, struggling even for a space to walk, and maintaining cleanliness. And how can we forget struggling for our safety. We live in fear. Fear of criminals who wake up any day and run back to their countries and hide behind the system that has already labeled them as victims and you as a hateful xenophobe, because how dare you fight for what is rightfully yours when your neighbor is hungry? You then get questioned about why do you hate your fellow black people so much? Yet nobody questions why Igbos don't get along with Yorubis, why Ndebeles don't get along with Shonas, why Ethiopians don't get along with Somalians. Every one of these nations don't preach unity in their own countries, so they can work together and actually fight the systems that oppress them in their own countries and those systems that allow dictatorships in Africa. Yet in South Africa, our skin color must miraculously just unite us. Little me would have never ever imagined that someone who's black like me, Herman, would one day make me feel like a stranger who's unsafe in their own country, and I would be to blame for it. When I was 13 years old, I moved to Johannesburg for the very first time. A move that was so scary for me, but a move that made me believe that my dreams will one day become a reality, much like how those European immigrants, because this city used to be the city of endless possibilities. Oh, Johannesburg, the city that was once a hub of so many dreams for so many South Africans has now become a city that is barely recognizable. Crime, hijacked buildings, overcrowding, poor morals, bad behavior, drug lords, hardcore criminals run this city, all while ordinary citizens walk around with only one thing in mind, and that is just getting by and not to dream anymore, not to watch their dreams become a reality, but living day by day. The dreams are now reserved only for a few. This is now a city where the underworld is slowly resurfacing to show us who is really in charge of this country. A city where criminals wear suits and know each other by name. A city where some of the biggest criminals have blue lights and VIP protection. They are given platforms to plant false hope in our people, while they have no ambitions at all to bring about change. Well, at least not change for the ordinary South Africans, but change for themselves and their little circles of Louis Vuittons and Gucci's. A city that criminals around the world realize now is a city of gold for crime. Our duty as patriotic South Africans is to give our new mayoral candidates all the support that they need. Thomas Jefferson once said, "When government fears the people, there is liberty. But when the people fear the government, there is a tyranny." And I'm urging all patriotic South Africans to remove the fear now and put on your boots to ensure that we never reach a point where criminals take over our country disguising themselves as government. We have lost a patriot this year, DJ Warris. May his soul rest in peace. The loss of his life must never be in vain. He died fighting for this country, and we will never forget the sacrifice he made for this country. And justice must be served, and it starts with you voting for the right leaders. Today, I stand here as a desperate patriot, asking to join this wonderful celebration of a leader that I believe can bring Johannesburg back to its former glory. And I know for a fact that this leader will, in essence, put South Africans first, not just with words, but with actions. Time for talking is over now. So in closing, I will leave with a Bible verse from Matthew 20, verse 26. Whoever wants to be a leader amongst you must be a servant. To the new mayoral candidates of ActionSA and hopefully the new mayor of Johannesburg, Remember that your duty is always to serve, not just to lead. So serve the people of South Africa with grace, humility, and honesty. I thank you.
Bantu Mzansi, please stand up and help me welcome Uyinduku Ziyaduma, an incoming mayor of the city of Ekurhuleni, Mr. No Nonsense, Councillor Xolani Khumalo.
Sanibonani. Igama lami uXolani waKhumalo, umuntu ongumbulazi umzelekazi kaMashobane owade umuntu amanganga indaba Viva ActionSA, viva! Pata ActionSA, pata! Namhlanje sihlangane ngomcimbi. It is very powerful to be here in Soweto today. Powerful because this moment is not only about Joburg, but it's about Gauteng. It is about whether our cities, they survive or they continue to be destroyed by these corrupt people. It's either a survivor as our cities, or we continue to be destroyed by the people that are in government. So, into engifuna ukunibuza yona namhlanje is that, are we ready? Are we ready to make sure that we take our cities to the better levels? When your taps run dry, it is because of the thugs in Mayorals bafanda trips to go on a luxury. It is time that we tell the truth as it is, patriots. When our taps run dry, it's because of some criminals in suits. They are funding their trips to go overseas and do their own thing. When our lights go out, it is because the money that was meant to fix the substations was used to fund an election campaign so that the same criminals can go back to government. So we can't allow that. Corruption is the reason why our cities are falling apart. When I stood up to run for mayor of Ekurhuleni, I said criminals will fear an ActionSA government. And that fear will not only end on the borders of Ekurhuleni. Here in Johannesburg, corrupt officials and the criminal network must start running. Because I know the next mayoral candidate or the mayoral candidate that we are here for today will make sure that they run. South Africans, there's work that is being done and that is of great reference. Like in the city of Tshwane, under our executive mayor, Onasipi Moya, we have proven that we are able. And that is why in Ekurhuleni we are continuing with that fight to make sure that we realize the government that we deserve. Even though we are not yet in government, but the time is coming. That is why we are seeing coordinated attacks and smear campaigns against us. And that only tells us that we are hitting the right target. But ushayinja kuphuma umnikazi. Ulwisa amadrugs, umemeza abanikazi. So we won't be scared. We're here to work for our families and make sure that the future of our children is going to be good. We are not moved by criminals and their friends. Fighting for South Africans requires serious dedication, and it's something that we have realized that we need to put our lives and sacrifice for it. So if it means we have to die, or if it means we have to go to jail for fighting for our children and the future of South Africans, then so be it. If we allow criminals to rule our cities, whether in Ekurhuleni or Johannesburg, then we have no future. That is why we must stand up and fight back. As our fight to fix Ekurhuleni grows stronger, patriots in Johannesburg, now we have the opportunity to reset the collapse of this city. This fight will not be easy. Fixing Ekurhuleni will not be easy. Fixing Johannesburg will not be easy. Fixing Gauteng will not be easy. But we will not win this war unless we fight it together. Unless we mobilize our communities. So, patrons, in less than a year, we have a chance to bring real change to Ekurhuleni, to Johannesburg, to Tshwane, to Gauteng. So let's go out there and make sure that we grow our party. Let's go out there and make sure that we knock on all doors so that we can get the votes that we need. ActionSA needs to govern Gauteng. Thank you.
Executive Mayor, but you must speak it into existence. You will be the Executive Mayor of Ekurhuleni after November. But inja ayikonkoti moto emile. Inja ayikonkoti moto emile. You know, every time we get together as actioners, we are growing and growing and growing. I always say to, I'm so sorry to the ones behind. Are you liking the stage, guys? Do you like the stage? Are you liking the boxing ring? I can't get in yet. I'm coming. Don't worry. I can't get in the boxing ring yet. You know, I'm now going to introduce South Africa's favorite mayor. She is. Is she South Africa's or is she yours? South Africa's favorite mayor. Dr. Nasipi Moya.
You know, when they talk about a war cry, saving our country has become an issue of a war. Don't behave that things are normal. Nothing is normal in this country. Don't be polite. Dada Mashaba, Mamu Mashaba, please allow me to greet this way the leadership, the membership, the supporters, the allies, the friends of a party that was formed as a vehicle to serve society, to serve our nation. The only party so far that has declared corruption a cancer that has robbed us of all the promises of the Constitution. The only party that has said corruption is enemy number one. That's who we are. Dumela Joburg! Nikona! Are you ready? Allow me to speak to you plainly this morning. ActionSA was formed because South Africans were tired of a government that did not work. When Mashaba stepped forward to form this movement, he gave many of us hope, us ordinary South Africans. Not because he made the loudest promises, but because he had a track record. He had governed Johannesburg before. He had stabilized systems before. He had shown that when leadership is serious, a city can change direction. Ethel Trollip showed the same in Nelson Mandela Bay, that ethical leadership and disciplined administration can restore order and credibility. Through Ndatu Trollip, that's the only miracle that was ever made public in this country. Thank you, Ndate, for showing that there are things that look impossible, but are possible. That's the foundation of our party. Bold leaders, credible leaders. It is the foundation of this party. Now, let me tell you what the foundation meant in Tshwane. When we took over in late 2024, we inherited an unfunded budget that had been unfunded for over 4 years. I say to people, we inherited an institution that was on its knees. It just needed someone to kick it and it would collapse. We inherited over 11 billion rand in debt, of which over 6 billion was owed to Eskom alone. City has received audit after an adverse finding not long before that. Liquidity was dangerously low. Infrastructure maintenance had been neglected. Power and water outages were becoming normal. The challenge was immense. And let me be honest, there were many who doubted that the city could be turned around. But we are a party of government and conviction, so we did not panic, we focused. We stabilized revenue collection, we tightened expenditure, we ring-fenced historic debt to stop interest from escalation. That Mashaba, over 2 billion of that 6.6 billion has been paid to Eskom. We strengthened audit oversight. We enforced consequence management. For the first time, you could hear in the news that officials of the city have been arrested. It was because of the work that we put in. It was not glamorous work, it was disciplined work. That Mashaba, when we do our work, they say, be careful. I always ask, what's the worst they can do to me? Kill me. I'm 1 in a billion. There will be another ActionSA member to take over from me. Slowly, stability began to return. Cash reserves have improved. Audit remedial plans have been implemented. Historic debt began to reduce. Once the foundation stabilized, delivery accelerated. Infrastructure maintenance improved. Street lights were restored. Water and electricity upgrades were prioritized. Illegal connections were addressed. Not because we are perfect, ladies and gentlemen, but because governance matters. Now let us look at the city of gold. I don't know where is the gold, but put us, ActionSA, will show you where the gold is in this city. Johannesburg is the economic heartbeat of South Africa. It should be leading the continent. Instead, residents face water outages, roads are crumbling, inner city decay is visible, confidence is declining. Johannesburg does not lack potential, it lacks disciplined governance. And when a city of this size is in difficulty, experience and leadership matter. You do not experiment with a city that carries the weight of the national economy. You choose leadership that understands municipal finance, leadership that understands audit outcomes, leadership that understands how to rebuild broken systems. We have seen that leadership here in the city of Johannesburg. Indeed, there hasn't been a mayor here since 2019. We've seen that leadership in Mashaba. We have seen what happens when Johannesburg is governed with conviction and courage. We have seen what happens when public money is protected and accountability is enforced. Long are those days where the budget is discussed at some cigar lounge, who it's gonna go to. Tshwane is proof that ActionSA governance works. Johannesburg now needs that same seriousness, the same experience, the same tested leadership, because when Johannesburg works, South Africa works. Thank you.
And now, for one of South Africa's most committed and hardest working patriots, ActionSA's National Chairperson, Mr. Michael Eric Beaumont.
Till the lights go out, get my leg in. Okay. Yes.
Dumelang, Molweni, Sanbonani, Goeiemôre. Good morning. I stand before you today as a resident of this great city, and like you, I am angry. Ek is gatvol, ngithukutele. And I am angry because since the day that Herman Mashaba stopped being our mayor of Johannesburg, governments of the ANC and the DA have brought service delivery to its knees. But the thing about this city and the thing about our country, it is the people that make it great, not the politicians. It is the undying spirit of the people of this city who, in the face of political failure, corruption and collapsed services, we thrive, we innovate, we hustle. Ons maak 'n plan, siyapanda. But it is to that undying spirit of the people of the city that I want to say today, if you always vote the way you have always voted, you will always suffer the way you have always suffered. The Dada Moreros, the Randall Williams, the Saliers Brinks, the Nkosindi Pile Kakazas, the Tanya Campbells, the Solium Samangas, they have all broken the municipalities of this province. But I stand before you today to tell you that there is one party whose leaders don't break municipalities, they fix them. And that is ActionSA. Athol Trollip was the only mayor in Nelson Mandela Bay who ever got that city working. He created jobs. He provided clean water to people who had never had it before. He eradicated the bucket toilets, and he stopped over 600 million rand in corrupt deals in that city. And Xolani Khumalo has been kicking down the doors of gangsters and drug dealers for years. And you can imagine how the criminals will run if we make him the mayor of that city. But with Nasipi in Tshwane and our candidates in Joburg and Xolani and Ekurhuleni, where will they run to? They'll have nowhere to hide. The residents of Ekurhuleni know and can trust that Xolani will kick down the doors of corrupt government just like he's been doing in their communities for years. And Dr. Nasipi Moya is proving the ActionSA brand of good government right now, every day, showing people there is another way to the failures of red and blue, a green way. In less than 2 years, our Tshwane mayor and her multi-party coalition government have reduced the mountain of Eskom debt by over 2 billion rand. She drank the first glass of clean water in Hammanskraal, even though more needs to be done there. She tabled the first fully funded budget in many years in that city, while improving the credit rating outlooks and achieving the first expansion of the Metro Police of that city in over 10 years. And on Thursday, this week, our mayor resolved a 5-year wage dispute that brought Tshwane back from the brink of labor and financial ruin. But it is the ground upon which we stand today, where Herman Mashaba was the only mayor who ever got Joburg working. He achieved the highest customer satisfaction levels in the history of the city when they did their survey in 2019, with 74% of residents saying he was doing the right job. He took the budgets wasted on travel and conferences and DSTV, and he prioritized it to electricity, water, roads, sewer, and housing. And that is why, for only this time in the city's history, Mashaba brought down electricity outages and stopped the water losses. If Herman Mashaba had remained the mayor of Johannesburg to today, there would be no water crisis in Johannesburg. People wouldn't be queuing with their buckets. Because while Mashaba replaced 200 kilometers of water pipes every year, Dada Marero can only replace 17. The truth is that ActionSA leaders have a proven record in fixing broken municipalities and delivering services to all of the residents and not just some of them. But I think it's time that we address the granny in the room. Unlike others, ActionSA does not need to wheel in the pensioners from Cape Town to come and fix our city. We don't need candidates who sit in potholes, kicking their legs to deflect from the fact that the last time they lived in the city was before democracy. We must reject the idea that she is the great white hope, here to rescue us and patronize us, because the truth is she has collapsed every working coalition in Johannesburg. If you don't believe me, ask Mpho Palatse how the granny who campaigns to save Johannesburg today is the one that threw Johannesburg to the ANC yesterday. Like Joburg residents, all South Africans know we stand at a crossroads in this election. Their municipalities are broken. Their leaders have failed them. Services have collapsed. Political promises have been broken by self-serving politicians who now come to campaign for your vote once again. And this is why we say to the people of Joburg, the people of Gauteng, and the people of South Africa, ActionSA leaders have done it before, and you can trust ActionSA leaders to do it again. Thank you.
Fellow South Africans, residents of our beautiful city, the city of Johannesburg, patriots, please allow me to begin by expressing sincere gratitude to my four fellow colleagues, Michael, Lerato, Funzi, and Derelin, for making themselves available to serve the residents of our beautiful city, the city of Johannesburg. Today, we are not here to simply launch a campaign. We are not here to make empty promises. We are not here to come together for celebration. I stand before you today in a boxing ring because that is exactly what this moment is about. Johannesburg is in a fight for its future. I'm stepping back into the ring to take back the city, not for spectacle, not for because this city needs a fighter who knows what it takes to win. This is a fight against corruption, a fight against incompetence, a fight against lawlessness, a fight against decline and collapse, and it is a fight to fix our city of Johannesburg. We are here, fellow South Africans, to declare war. I start with this declaration because it must be clear from the very start that this campaign will not be about theory, personalities, empty commitments, or endless talking. This will be a campaign of action and delivery. And this will be a campaign to reclaim our city and fix the city of Johannesburg. Because for South Africa to work, Johannesburg has to work. Here is a simple reality. Johannesburg is in a crisis. Across the city, residents open taps and not a single drop of water comes out. Street lights remain broken. Roads are crumbling. Potholes have become craters. Sewer flows through our streets. Lawlessness has turned into areas into no zones. Jobs are disappearing as businesses close their doors and lose confidence in this city. The inner city has been overrun by criminal syndicates. Accidental. It is the direct consequence of the sickening corruption, blatant incompetence, failed politicians who care only about their own self-interest, not the lives of our residents. We must all reject the idea that Johannesburg cannot be fixed. This city is not broken beyond repair. But it will only happen through action that Johannesburg will be fixed. I say this with absolute confidence because the people of this city have seen it before. They have witnessed real progress and they know that it works. Residents of the city have already seen what is possible when leadership is serious, disciplined, and backed by skilled and professional public servants. Not long ago, Johannesburg began to recover. In just 3 years, decades of mismanagement were confronted with decisive action. Political will replaced paralysis. Plans were implemented. Earlier today, ordinary residents stood on the stage and spoke about the real improvements in their lives. They spoke about what changed when I had the honor of serving them as the executive mayor. Those years were defined by action and accountability. Together, we worked tirelessly to deliver a city and a safe city, a clean city, a city with zero tolerance for corruption, a city where public money was spent on service delivery, and only on service delivery. A city where every official was held accountable. A city with stabilized finances. A city where the inner city was being reclaimed from criminal syndicates and illegal activity. A city where infrastructure maintenance was prioritized. a city that invested in proper water infrastructure, a city where revenue collection improved, a city where the quality of services you received did not depend on your postcode, a city where the needs of residents were the top priority. What we discovered in this, delivered in those 3 years was not an accident or it was luck. It's what we were able to achieve when I first declared war on the collapse of Johannesburg in 2016 and executed a plan. And it is today I can respond to return, to finish the job, and once again deliver real results for the residents of the city. And to deliver nothing less. This job, fellow residents, it's not going. It's a brutal job. But someone must stand up and lead the only credible fight to fix Johannesburg before it is too late. My fight to fix this city was interrupted, as all of you are aware. But I returned because Johannesburg needs to pick up where we left off and get the job done. ActionSA will show residents that these upcoming elections offer them the opportunity to stop the collapse of Johannesburg and elect experienced leader with a credible plan to elect someone who knows every inch of the city. City has turned around before and we can do it again. The contrast in this election is simple. Others will talk. This campaign and our offer to our residents is a credible plan. Not some fancy slogan or a long manifesto that few will actually read, but a plan that residents can be part of and hold us accountable. Today, I'm proud to launch our plan called Operation Fix Johannesburg. This fellow, everything we do begins here in Soweto, in Orlando East. Our first priority is to fix the basics. Johannesburg is falling apart because maintenance was neglected and investment was either delayed or diverted. Pipes were left to fail. Roads were left to crumble. Critical infrastructure was allowed to deteriorate. Under Operation Fix Johannesburg, that neglect ends here today. We will implement a focused infrastructure recovery plan that prioritizes water, electricity, roads, and sewer networks. We will apply urgent triage where the risk is greatest, particularly in our water and sewer system. Maintenance will no longer be reactive. It will be planned, funded, and monitored. When I served as a mayor, we replaced more than 2,000 kilometers of water pipes and 160 kilometers of sewer pipes in just 3 years. Water losses were reduced significantly as leaks were repaired and aging was a result of disciplined budgeting and clear priorities. When you give us an opportunity to return to office, we will restore the same momentum. Over a five-year term, we will at least double the pace of pipe replacement and road resurfacing. We will publish clear targets and openly. For us, partnership with organized labor will be critical. Employees of the city must be treated as equal partners. They are the ones in the front line of service delivery. Their experience and commitment are essential to restoring performance. Fellow patrons, Johannesburg can work again, but it begins with fixing the basics. Our second priority is to end corruption, this cancer. Corruption is not a side issue. It is the reason taps run dry. It is the reason cases with a combined value exceeding 35 billion rands. Those investigations led to over 900 arrests and numerous disciplinary actions. That approach is going to return. We will reinstate a properly resourced anti-corruption capability. Lifestyle audits will be mandatory for senior officials and political office bearers. Corrupt contractors will be blacklisted, and that's going to be a priority. Major tenders and contracts will be published and open to public scrutiny. Consequences will begin on day one, and they will be consistent. We must also confront the structure that enables corruption, mismanagement, and waste. If not all, then the majority of the state-owned entities such as City Power, Joburg, Water, and others, we will collapse them into the core administration of the city. These entities have become unnecessary layers of bureaucracy. They have created space for corruption and for cadres. That is going to end. Functions will be consolidated, oversight will be centralized, accountability will be direct. Each will be led by a competent executive reporting directly to the city manager. No more boards for cadres. Our third priority is to restore law and order. Hijacked buildings, cable theft, illegal connections, drug syndicates, and organized criminal networks are undermining the future of our city, our children, and our communities. Undocumented illegal foreign nationals who operate outside our laws. You want me to repeat this? You want me to repeat this so that it is very clear. Undocumented illegal foreign nationals who operate outside our laws will not be welcome in a city we live. Lawlessness drives away investment and destroys dignity. We will strengthen Johannesburg Metropolitan Department by recruiting an additional 2,500 officers over 5 years. That is 500 officers each year, properly trained and deployed where they are most needed. During my previous term, we identified 643 hijacked buildings and properties and began reclaiming them. 44 were returned to the lawful owners. Fellow South Africans and people of Johannesburg in particular, this work is unfinished. There is absolutely unfinished work, and we will absolutely complete it if you give us the mandate. The restoration of order in our CBD will intensify. Criminal syndicates will not dictate the future of our city of Johannesburg. Effective, well-managed municipal courts will be reinstated to show that laws are enforced and consequences are real. We want a city where our people can live, work, and build their future in a safety and in dignity. I believe Johannesburg can become the epicenter of the arts and culture in Africa. A city that attracts the world to experience our talent, our creativity, and our energies. This city belongs to its residents, and the rule of law will be restored in every part of it. Fellow residents, our fourth priority is jobs, investments, and economic revival of our Johannesburg. Economic recovery begins with financial stability. A city that cannot manage its finances cannot create jobs. We must begin by restoring the financial health of the city of Johannesburg. Without financial discipline, there can never be service delivery and there can never be growth. We have seen what can be achieved when ActionSA takes the reins of Johannesburg, as we have demonstrated in the city of Tshwane under the leadership of our Dr. Nasipi Moya, present with us today. In the first 100 days, we will conduct a full financial health audit of the city and all its entities. We'll establish a clear, honest picture of revenue, our debt, contracts, and liabilities. Residents deserve to know the true state of their city. We have seen what responsible leadership can achieve when finances are stabilized and priorities are clear. Johannesburg must return to that standard. Johannesburg fellow residents must be open for business again. We will introduce a 72-hour turnaround target for business permits and licenses. Delays destroys opportunities. Red tape suffocates entrepreneurs. A city that works must make it easy to invest, to expand and employ. Investors need certainty. Businesses need reliable services. Entrepreneurs need infrastructure that works. We will relaunch the Inner City Revitalization Program. During my previous term, 154 city-owned properties were released for redevelopment by the private sector. The plan was to realize more than 32 billion rands in private sector investment. It was going to create over 21,000 construction jobs and enabling approximately 14,500 affordable housing opportunities in the inner city. That model is going to return, expanded and strengthened. We will release additional properties, fast-track approval, and partner with developers who are serious about building a safe and vibrant city center. Small business support programs and designated trading opportunities will be reserved exclusively for South African citizens and legal permanent residents. I think I need to repeat this one. So that I think there's no ambiguity. Small business support programs and designated trading opportunities will be reserved exclusively for South African citizens and legal permanent residents. We must be deliberate to build the support for local entrepreneurs. This is how we develop the next generations of captains of industry, not the nonsense we've experienced of tenderpreneurs that we've created over the last few years. Johannesburg must become a city that attracts investment, not one that drives it away. Our fifth and most important priority is to build a city that delivers dignity for all. Dignity begins with how a city spends its money. When I launched the Diphetogo initiative, which means real change, the aim was very clear. We cut unnecessary bureaucracy and redirected funds from political excesses to frontline services. We reduced waste and prioritized infrastructure. As a result, more than 2 billion rands was redirected to infrastructure investment. The impact was measurable. At the start of 2016, only 58% of the budget was spent on roads, housing, water and sanitation and electricity. By 2019, that figure had increased to 71%. More of the budget went where it belonged. Where was that? Into communities. We delivered over 7,000 RDP homes, 7,500 title deeds, and 3,500 service stands. Families gained security, residents gained ownership, communities gained hope. As a matter of urgency, we will accelerate the insourcing of key municipal services. This also needs to be repeated because some of you might obviously not know. We must accelerate the insourcing of key municipal services. Our cleaners and security personnel deserve the dignity of a permanent employment with fair conditions. The era of tenderpreneurs extracting profit from basic services will come to an end under ActionSA government. Dignity in this city must never depend on your suburb, your income, or your postcode. Every ward deserves reliable services. Every community deserves clean, safe streets, working infrastructure, and accountable leadership. That is the standard we set before you. And that is the standard we are committed to restoring. Fellow residents, this is the choice before Johannesburg. More excuses or real action. More recycled failures or proven leadership with a proven track record. More talk or a credible plan that has delivered before and will do it again. As residents of Johannesburg, we cannot give up on our city. I believe Johannesburg can be fixed and it will be fixed. Johannesburg must be fixed and Johannesburg is going to be fixed. This is our war. This is our city. I was asked why I would take on this fight. And I realized that if not now, then when? If not me, then who? Today, I launch a campaign built on one commitment: to fix the city, to clean up government, to restore order, to grow the economy, to protect the vulnerable. The fight to fix Johannesburg begins right now. We have done it before. We can do it again if you give us the opportunity. But I cannot do it alone. The future of Johannesburg rests in your hands. Your vote is your voice. Your vote is your power. Join us, fellow South Africans. Stand with us. Vote for ActionSA. Let us restore our beautiful Johannesburg city together. And that can only happen through your vote. Thank you very much. I'm making myself available to serve you. Thank you so much.